Okay guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to paint clouds, and so you are going to need a shaded blue, and I do apologize, these are for the last video. This is for a shaded blue, so black and blue. This is a regular blue. This is just clean white, and then this is one mid-tone of a tinted blue. And so we're also going to have one large fluffy brush and then one smaller one. You can see the difference in size, and we're actually going to start with the larger one because we're going to paint the entire background one single color. And so I'm actually going to go in with the tint first, and I'm just going to spread that as much as I can. From there I'm going to grab the shaded blue. Okay, very important that we are making this background look like a blue sky, right? Very rarely is a blue sky one color, like a nice solid blue. Sometimes it has some lighter areas, sometimes it has some darker ones. So that's what we're trying to kind of create, is that illusion of the lighter and the darker. Okay, so right here I'm going to go in on the edges. Okay, I'm going to make sure to get the edges in there, and I'm just going in with the clean blue at this time. And I'm going to do the rest of this off camera. I am going to grab a little bit of water just to make sure that this is like moving a little bit more easily, but I'm not going to add too much water because we don't want this to turn into like transparent or see-through paint. We're not using watercolor, we're using tempera, so it should still be quite thick. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of this off camera. Okay, so now the entire background is painted blue. We do need to wait for it to dry down. This one for me is pretty dry. Okay, there are some areas that have a little bit of wet paint, but for the most part, pretty good. Okay, we use the larger, fluffier brush for the background, so now we're going to use the smaller one. And make sure it's nice and clean, everybody. We're gonna go in and we're just going to grab some white paint, and then we're going to be free-handing these clouds, right? Clouds aren't usually the same shape or form, so I'm just kind of making it go all over the place. And as I am adding my paint, I'm also just tapping the paint into the paper with the brush. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead right there. If you want to make some more clouds, you're more than welcome to do that, right? I might make one over here as well. This one I might actually end up making a little bit larger. Something like that. So something like that, okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to clean this brush, and then where all of the paint is that is still wet, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to move it downward. So just like that. Moving this downward too. Moving this downward. Moving this downward. Okay. So something like that. Sometimes you do need to add a little bit of water to your paintbrush to move the paint around, which is what I do. So I end up just cleaning my brush and then adding some more paint. Okay, from here we're going to go in and we're going to get our tinted blue. And we can kind of see the lines of where we've created some of the curvatures of the cloud body. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this paint to the outside. In fact, if it makes it even easier for you to kind of remember, you can also add some more white to it. I just wouldn't put like globs of white. Okay. Then like that. So something like that, where we can still start to see the edges of the clouds. In fact, why don't we do that first? Because it seems like this one's too light anyway, so we're going to have to kind of make these lines or these contours ourselves. You know, we'll do it this way. That's perfect. We don't want to put any, like, too much of the white towards the bottom of the cloud because typically on the bottom we see a little bit of a shadow for clouds. So we're not going to be adding that much for that, but we are going to add them in the rest of the body of the cloud just so that we can see its form begin. And again, we're just kind of tapping, we're just touching those areas slightly. And again, those taps are what's going to make this cloud look a little bit more natural. And we also want to tackle the one in the background. Okay, something like that. Then we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab a pointed brush. And with this pointed brush, we're going to go in with the regular blue, not the tinted, not the shade, just regular blue. And we're going to go into the areas that are right outside the areas of white we just created. So just right here, I'm creating kind of like a little line, like an outline. And then I'm also tapping it upwards into the paint. Okay. So I'm going to do that here as well. Okay. Regular blue. Again, we're just going to go in and right in here. We're just tapping it upward. Okay, almost like we want to be outlining or bringing more attention to the clouds. And then we also are going to do it over here on this edge. Okay, and so I'm going to be doing that for behind every curve that we've created. So I'm going to put this on pause and I'm going to do it off camera just because I don't want to run out of time. Okay, once you have those edges kind of conformed, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the regular blue towards the bottom of the clouds. Okay, over here. Because the paint should still be movable, we're going in and we are now adding some of that blue into the actual clouds. Okay, so now we have that one done. We're going to go in blue down here. So we're seeing it. We want to make sure we're getting the edges first before we start patting it upward, because it does need to remain dark. And we're going to do that over here too. Okay, and so with the residue that we have here, we're just going to go ahead and tap in some of the areas on the clouds to make those areas slightly darker too. We want to give it a natural look. And again, clouds don't all look the same, so yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Right? I am going to clean off my brush, and now with this smaller brush, I'm going to go into the highlights, or the areas where there should be a little bit more of that light, and I'm going to add it. So over here, I think that looks good. Right, we're starting to kind of see. I'm also going to add a little bit there, so we can see kind of like the edge of the cloud. Over here, because the sun is typically right at the top, that's where the most amount of light should be hitting, and so that's where we're adding it. And now I'm just adding a little bit over here to kind of blend it so that we can see the edge of the cloud. Doing that and adding it over here. And so now this is the end of our clouds. And they're very simple looking clouds. If you want to make the background a little bit darker so that they pop out, you can. However, you just got to be careful with the line work. Okay, see you guys in the next one.